All right, let's talk about NSAIDs, or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. You know them, you've probably taken them. They are some of the most common drugs on the entire planet, but the way they work, well, it's elegant, it's complex, and for anyone in medicine, it's absolutely critical to master. So let's break it down.
I mean, really think about that for a second. How does one little pill, ibuprofen, naproxen, aspirin, do all of that? It's pretty amazing, right? It's a powerful pain reliever, it brings down a fever, and it calms down inflammation. To figure out how the drug works, we first have to understand the problem it's trying to solve. And that problem is inflammation itself.
Okay, so let's build this thing from the ground up. We're going to map out the entire inflammation pathway, because this right here, this is the biochemical battleground where NSAIDs do all their work. So picture any kind of injury to your body, a cut, a sprain, you name it. The very first thing that happens at the molecular level is that your cell membranes get damaged. Now, these membranes are made of stuff called phospholipids, and when they break apart, they release all their building blocks. This is our starting point. As soon as those phospholipids are floating around, an enzyme called Phospholipase A2 just swoops right in. Its job is to turn those phospholipids into a really important molecule, arachidonic acid. You can think of arachidonic acid as the raw fuel for inflammation, and this fuel gets fed into a critical factory, the one enzyme you absolutely have to know for this pathway, cyclooxygenase, or as we all call it, COX. So the COX enzyme takes that arachidonic acid and starts cranking out two major products. First up, prostaglandins. These are the molecules that are basically the minions of inflammation. They make nerve endings super sensitive to pain, and they tell your brain's thermostat, the hypothalamus, to crank up the heat and give you a fever. The second product is thromboxanes. The big one to know is thromboxane A2, and its main job is to make your platelets sticky so they can clump together and form a clot. And here it is. This is the big reveal, the core mechanism for every single NSAID out there. They work by putting up a wall and blocking that cyclooxygenase enzyme. They shut down the factory. So if you block COX, you can't make prostaglandins or thromboxanes. No prostaglandins means less inflammation, less pain, and a lower fever. Simple, right? Well, maybe not so simple.
Yeah, here comes the plot twist. A plot twist that honestly changed pharmacology forever. It turns out that COX isn't just one enzyme. Nope, there are actually two distinct versions, or isoforms, COX-1 and COX-2, and they have totally different jobs in the body. You can think of one as the responsible, everyday housekeeper, and the other as the troublemaking instigator. Understanding the difference here is everything. COX-1 is what we call constitutive, meaning it's always on, humming along in the background, doing essential housekeeping jobs. It makes prostaglandins that protect your stomach lining, it helps keep blood flowing to your kidneys, and it makes that thromboxane we need for normal clotting. COX-2, on the other hand, is inducible. It's normally off, but when there's an injury, its production goes through the roof. It's the one driving the pain and fever we actually want to treat. So here's the goal. We want to shut down the instigator, COX-2, without messing with the housekeeper, COX-1. Let's just visualize this for a second. Imagine the COX-1 factory is running 24/7. It's pumping out things we need to live, like a protective mucus shield for the stomach, it's making sure our kidneys get good blood flow, and it's keeping our platelets ready to go. So when you take a typical NSAID that blocks this factory, well, you can see exactly why we get side effects like stomach ulcers, kidney problems, and bleeding. Now, the COX-2 factory, that's a whole different story. It's usually quiet, sitting dark. But when you get injured, inflammatory signals flip the on switch, and this factory starts churning out all the prostaglandins that cause pain, fever, and swelling. This is our target. This is the factory we want to shut down. So once researchers figured this out, it kicked off this huge race to create a smarter, more precise weapon, a drug that could surgically strike the bad COX-2 factory while leaving the good COX-1 factory completely alone. And this led to a whole spectrum of NSAIDs, all based on how selective they are. The mission, the therapeutic goal, became crystal clear. Design a drug that only blocks COX-2. In theory, that would give you all the awesome anti-inflammatory benefits without any of those nasty GI or bleeding side effects you get from blocking COX-1. And here's where our everyday drugs fall on that spectrum. The traditional NSAIDs you know, like ibuprofen and naproxen, are non-selective. They're like a bomb. They hit both factories. They work great for pain because they take out COX-2, but they also hit COX-1, and that's why they can be rough on the stomach.
Then you have drugs like Celecoxib, which is a selective COX-2 inhibitor. It was specifically designed to zero in on COX-2 and spare the stomach. But, and this is a huge but, there's a critical trade-off. It turns out that while these COX-2 selective drugs protect the gut, they also increase the risk of heart attacks and strokes. And you have to ask why. Well, it all comes down to balance. See, COX-2 also makes a good prostaglandin called prostacyclin, which helps open up blood vessels and stops platelets from clumping. COX-1, meanwhile, makes thromboxane, which promotes clumping. So when you selectively block only COX-2, you lose that protective prostacyclin, but the pro-clotting thromboxane from COX-1 is left totally unchecked. You've tipped the scales in favor of forming clots.
Okay, now it's time to talk about the OG of NSAIDs, the one that started it all, and the one that completely breaks the rules we just set up. Let's talk about aspirin. It's really in a class of its own, all because of one unique chemical trick it can do. This is the absolute #1 high-yield difference you have to know. All those other NSAIDs we talked about, they are reversible inhibitors. They bind to COX, block it for a bit, and then they let go, and the enzyme is fine. Aspirin is totally different. It forms a permanent covalent bond. It acetylates the enzyme. It doesn't just block it for a while, it permanently breaks it. So what, right? Who cares if it's permanent? Well, it matters a ton, and the reason why comes down to the platelet. You have to remember that platelets are not like other cells. They are anucleated. They have no nucleus. That means they have no DNA, no blueprint, no machinery to make new proteins. If one of their enzymes gets broken, they can't just make a new one. And this right here is the magic of low-dose aspirin. When aspirin acetylates the COX-1 enzyme inside a platelet, it's like it slaps a permanent padlock on it. That enzyme is knocked out for the entire life of that platelet, which is about 7 to 10 days. That platelet can never, ever make thromboxane A2 again. This single fact, this irreversible inhibition, is the entire basis for aspirin's incredible antiplatelet and cardioprotective effects. Okay, let's bring it all home. Time to consolidate everything into the absolute must-know, high-yield points, especially if you're studying for your boards. First, the main mechanism. NSAIDs block COX, and that stops prostaglandin production. Got it. Second, the two isoforms. COX-1 is the good guy housekeeper, protecting the gut and helping platelets. Blocking it is what causes the nasty side effects. Third, COX-2 is the bad guy instigator that shows up with inflammation. Blocking it is our therapeutic goal. And finally, number 4, the game changer. Aspirin is totally unique because its inhibition is irreversible. Look, if you remember just one sentence from this whole thing, make it this one. It's the permanent covalent modification, that acetylation, of the COX-1 enzyme in a platelet that has no nucleus. That is what prevents blood clots and provides its life-saving benefit in heart disease. No other NSAID can do that, because their block is only temporary. So the next time you reach for one of these drugs, think a little deeper than just pain relief. Ask yourself, which COX enzyme am I really going after? And by blocking it, what's the potential collateral damage? What essential housekeeping jobs might I be shutting down? Understanding that balance, that trade-off between shutting down the bad guy and sparing the good guy, that's the real art and science of clinical pharmacology.